Hey everyone, my name is Madeline, and I just started a true crime podcast called Mystery at Midnight, where I deep dive into unsolved true crime cases across the US. I decided I wanted to create some more content geared towards people who don't want to listen to a 30+ minute episode, but still want a dose of true crime. So I'm going to be making these shorter episodes that I'm going to call Mystery at Midnight in case you missed it, where I'm going to read to you a true crime article that blew my mind this week and give you some quick thoughts on it. I would definitely love to hear what you have to say about this story tonight, so feel free to leave me a comment, and you never know, one of these articles might turn into an entire deep dive episode. So tonight's story is probably the biggest dream for anyone who has a missing person in their life. This woman, Holly Marie Clouse, was just at her job one day when investigators came in during her shift and informed her that she had actually been missing for 40 years. Can you just imagine that for a minute? I mean, anytime law enforcement shows up at your work and says they have something to tell you, your mind's not going to go to a good place. But it's definitely not going to go there. Now, this woman, Holly, was legally adopted as far as we know, and I'm just going to go ahead and read this article from USA Today that will explain further. Okay, the article is titled, Texas Cops Found Her Safe More Than 40 Years After Her Parents Were Killed, But Who Took Her? It's written by Natalie Alund, and it was written June 9th, 2022. In a strange twist involving a barefoot nomadic religious group, the child of a slain Texas couple has been located more than 40 years after her parents' violent deaths, state authorities said Thursday. The new cold case and missing persons unit with the Texas Attorney General's office made the announcement Thursday morning. Holly Marie Clouse had last been seen by her family in late 1980. Her parents, Dean and Tina Lynn Clouse, were found slain in rural Houston on January 12, 1981. Dean was beaten to death and his wife was strangled. Their child was not found with the remains, state officials said. Law enforcement in 3 states joined the search, and Texas investigators ultimately found the child, now 42-year-old woman. Finding Holly is a birthday present from heaven, her grandmother Donna Casanata said in a statement obtained by USA Today. I prayed for more than 40 years for answers, and the Lord has revealed some of it. We have found Holly. Thank you to all the investigators for working so hard to find Holly. I prayed for them day after day and that they would find Holly and she would be all right. During a news conference in Austin Thursday afternoon, First Assistant Attorney General Brent Webster said the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children will pay for Holly to be united with her family. They hope to meet in person soon, he told reporters. After a whirlwind romance and a pregnancy, the Clouses, aged 22 and 18 when they disappeared, were married in June 1979. Investigators believe they were killed in 1980 and said they had been living in Lewisville, Texas prior to their death. In January 1981, a dog wandered into the woods and returned with a human arm in its mouth. Years went by without the bodies being identified and without progress in the missing persons case. Their bodies were exhumed in 2011, and Identifiers International, a California organization that performs genetic genealogy for law enforcement, decided to take on the case. The agency tested the pair's DNA and linked it to the bodies of the couple. Family learned the couple's daughter was still alive and well and living in Oklahoma, where a family adopted her as a baby, the Houston Chronicle reported this week. Investigators walked into Holly's workplace Tuesday and told her who she was. The family that raised Holly are not suspects in this case, Webster said Thursday. He said the investigation into the slaying of Holly's biological parents, as well as the circumstances that led to the girl's disappearance, remained open. After finally being able to reunite with Holly, I believe Tina's finally resting in peace, knowing Holly is reuniting with her family, Sherry Lynn Green, Holly's aunt, said in a statement released by the family. I personally am so relieved to know Holly is alive and well and was well cared for, but also torn up by it all. That baby was her life. According to new information released Thursday, Webster said Holly was left at a church in Arizona and taken into their care. Investigators said 2 female members of a, quote, nomadic religious group dropped baby Holly off at the church. The women indicated they had given up a baby before at a laundromat, Webster said. Investigators believe the women and their group traveled around the southwest United States, including Arizona, California, and possibly Texas. Webster said there were sightings of the group in Yuma, Arizona in the early 80s, where they were seen around town asking for food. Then around January 1981, Webster said, the victims' families received a phone call from an unidentified woman who said she was calling from Las Vegas and wanted to return the Clouse's car to their family. She said the couple had joined their religious group and no longer wanted to have contact with their families. The woman asked for money in exchange for the car, a red 1978 two-door AMC Concorde, and the family agreed to meet in Daytona, Florida, where police took the women into custody, Webster said. But because of the age of the case, Webster said, no police report has been located. We still are looking for suspects in this case, Webster said Thursday. This is an ongoing pending criminal investigation. Anyone with information about their deaths or Holly's disappearance is asked to contact the Texas Attorney General's Cold Case and Missing Persons Unit at coldcaseunit@oag.texas.gov. I looked it up, and this Texas Cold Case Unit that made the announcement was formed in March of 2021 to support law enforcement all over Texas, where there are upwards of 20,000 unsolved homicides. It's pretty awesome and rare that something like this gets figured out 40 plus years later. It's really no surprise to me that DNA played a major role in that, and I'm really excited to see what sort of secrets might come to light in the future thanks to this technology. A quick excerpt from Identifiers International website says, Genetic genealogy pioneers. The science of forensic genetic genealogy is quickly moving beyond the novelty phase and becoming an established forensic tool. No new leads or degraded DNA? We solve problems like this every day, as well as cases other agencies have rejected as unsolvable. Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick and the Identifiers team have been instrumental in developing the science and art of forensic genetic genealogy. With the Sarah Yarborough homicide, the first cold case where direct-to-consumer DNA test data was used to generate investigative leads, identifiers helped to open the door for future forensic use of genetic genealogy. So now I'm going to have to go look up the Sarah Yarborough case, but I wanted to read that to you guys because I've never heard of this company until today. I'll link their site along with the article below because it's pretty interesting. I also want to know who this religious group is. If you have any ideas, please let me know because I haven't found much about it so far. It sounds very cult-like to me, which was pretty common during the late 70s and early 80s. There were a lot of off-the-wall religious groups roaming around. All in all, this is definitely one of the craziest stories I've heard in a while, and there's still so much more to be revealed. I really hope this case being broken open leads to answers for Holly and her family about the murder of her parents. One thing that really perplexes me, and I don't know why we let this continue to happen in the US, is the destruction of police records. I can see things being destroyed maybe after 100 years or so when those people are long gone. But for instance, in my state of Ohio, they only have a 15-year record retention law. It was made clear to me by the record clerk that I spoke with that it doesn't matter if the case is closed or not. Any records relating to it are destroyed. Why are we letting this happen, especially in this digital age? I know a lot of states do digitize everything now or try to, but I believe the records in Ohio are destroyed whether they're digitized or not. And if you don't have enough people to keep up with digitizing everything, you're just always going to have this insane backlog of files. Once again, guys, let me know what you think about that news article in the comments below. Like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. And stay tuned for the second episode of the Doug Davis case next Tuesday. Thanks again for listening.